So, rightly or wrongly, people have been feeling a little bit demoralized because they feel as if the squad doesn't necessarily push back on Democratic Party leadership enough. And I wanted to get your take on this because I do feel a little bit mixed on this. On one hand, they are the only members who ever push back on leadership in the Democratic Party, but perhaps they could be more forceful. Perhaps they could, you know, choose to fight even more battles with them. What is your take on this? Because I think it's really complicated because on one hand, the members of the Democratic Party have a lot of institutional power and they could use their power to really silence and suppress, these progressives. But at the same time, it's frustrating because there's so much that's at stake, so many people suffering who want Medicare for all, student debt cancellation, that, the standards are really high for members of the squad. So what is your take in terms of like how you think they're faring as members of the squad, and whether or not your approach would differ in comparison with theirs to Democratic Party leadership in particular?
Mike, you're right. It is complicated. That's the first thing I need the grassroots to understand, especially progressives. And I know progressives are disappointed. I mean, we tried 2016, 2020. I get it. So for me as a leader, not just somebody elected, because there are things that I can do in committee, things I can do on the floor of the Congress, but there's also things that I can do in my community and also across this country. So don't I want to say don't be disappointed. You got to have some understanding. It's okay to be disappointed, but the squad is ultimately the best that we have in terms of being able to push an agenda. And what that means is that you might not always agree with the methods. I need people to understand that when you are on the inside, it doesn't mean that you are selling out. I know they've gotten a lot of pressure, but they are the ones up there holding it down. They're pushing as hard as they can. And just because things are not going exactly the way, just because they're not using the exact tactics that some in the activist community want them to use, that doesn't mean that you throw them away. Because guess what? If you're throwing away members of the squad, who are our best opportunity to get what we need, and also some members of that progressive caucus, then you're not going to have anybody there. So if the prerequisite, in summation, if the prerequisite for relationship means that I have to do, or the squad has to do everything you say, the way you say do it, then there's not much of a relationship at all. And that you're going to be disappointed. Hell, they're going to be disappointed with me. I said that to Tim Black when we interviewed. I'm saying it to you, Mike. I want them to know you're going to be disappointed at some point. But that does not mean that you give up totally on the people who are the best fighting chance that you have. And then there's something called strategy. So the grassroots strategy is different than the strategy once you are on the inside. You will know when somebody is sold out. And I assure you that the squad has not, underline, bold, underscore, sold out in any way. They need the grassroots. You can hold them accountable, but you don't throw them away. I mean, some of the pressures, even with Congresswoman Cori Bush, I just want to use her as the example. I mean, she just got there. Hell, overall, the squad members overall just got there, even the ones who've been there a little longer. And then you have people just throwing up their hands, throwing them away just because they're not using the tactics that you want them to use. You don't know what is going on. And so part of the thing that I want to do outside of what I do, and I'm claiming this on the floor of the House of Representatives and also as a member of committee, is to also continue to educate and bring people. I just want people to see it different ways, to get understanding. Stephen Covey, one of the most world-renowned leadership gurus, has a quote that I love. He says, "Seek first to understand and then to be understood." That doesn't mean we're always agree, but at least let's give each other enough bandwidth to understand. And for the love of God, do not throw away, malign the squad members. It doesn't mean you're not going to be disappointed, but to throw them away is at our own peril. It really is.